the F-15 Eagle, the F-16 Fighting Falcon, the F/A-18 Hornet. Three of the greatest American fighters ever built, and Britain bought none of them. But this isn't a story of rejection. It's a story of industrial survival, unique British needs, and near misses that reshaped the Royal Air Force and Royal Navy. Here's the real reason Britain said no. First, let's kill a myth. The UK did buy US jets. The Phantom flew with the RAF and Navy for decades. Today, both services rely on the F-35. So why skip the Eagles, Falcons, and Hornets? Because Britain wasn't just shopping for a fighter. It was protecting an entire industry. And every time an American jet tempted London, a carefully crafted European alternative was already waiting. Take the F-15. In the 1970s, the RAF needed a long-range interceptor to patrol the North Sea and stop Soviet bombers. The Eagle was the world's deadliest dogfighter, but it was built for air superiority, not the cold, fuel-heavy patrols Britain required. The answer came from Europe, the Panavia Tornado ADV. It had a massive radar, long-range skyflash missiles, and endurance the F-15 couldn't match in that specific role. More importantly, the Tornado was a collaborative project with Germany and Italy. Buying the F-15 would have killed thousands of British aerospace jobs and handed the next generation of fighter design to the United States. The RAF chose capability and sovereignty. Next, the F-16. Agile, cheap, and the backbone of over 25 air forces, but it had no place in Britain's Cold War lineup. The RAF already flew the Jaguar for ground attack and the Harrier for close support. A lightweight multi-role jet would have duplicated existing roles. More critically, Britain was already eyeing a future European fighter, what would become the Eurofighter Typhoon. Buying F-16s, even as a temporary fleet, would have weakened political and financial support for that program. So the Falcon was evaluated, briefly admired, and quietly left on the shelf. The Hornet's rejection was even simpler: physics. The Royal Navy's Invincible-class carriers were small, equipped with ski jumps, and purpose-built for the subsonic Sea Harrier. The F/A-18 needed catapults and arrestor wires, technology Britain had abandoned. When the next-generation Queen Elizabeth-class carriers were designed, Britain faced a choice: invest billions to convert them to conventional catapult launch, potentially with F/A-18 Super Hornets, or stick with short takeoff and vertical landing. Cost and politics won. The carriers stayed STOVL, sealing the F-35B's future and closing the door on the Hornet forever. Behind all three decisions is one word: workshare. Every American off-the-shelf buy meant the UK became a mere customer, not a developer. Programs like Tornado and Typhoon kept design, engineering, and manufacturing alive in Britain. Even today's F-35 works because the UK is a Tier 1 partner, building 15% of every jet. The F-15, F-16, and F-18 could never offer that. So Britain didn't say no to America's best fighters because they weren't brilliant. They were simply the right jets at the right time. Just not for Britain. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. Which British jet do you think deserves more respect? See you in the next one.